A River State High Court has issued an interim injunction restraining the Speaker of the River State House of Assembly and two others from sending any correspondence to the Chief Judge of the state over impeachment proceedings on Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy. And with growing defections to the ADC, opposition politics mount pressure on ruling APC over state of the nation and the Tinubu government's style of leadership. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale right here in Abuja. It's a Friday edition of the program, and we'll be bringing you up to speed with all of the political stories and some of the headline news that you need to know. Stick around, everyone. Within the next 60 minutes or so, we'll bring you up to par with some of the news that you need to know and get some perspectives on your top stories. Let's begin from the courtroom, where the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, in the corruption trial against former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, has continued the prosecution today at the Federal Capital Territory High Court, with a prosecution witness telling the court that a tax consultant engaged by the Kogi State Internal Revenue Service acted within Central Bank of Nigeria regulations in handling over 1.1 billion naira paid as commission. And testifying before Justice Marian Aneni, the witness says the payments and subsequent withdrawals raised no regulatory red flags, insisting there was no breach of banking rules, no suspicious transaction report, and no direct link to Yahaya Bello or the Kogi State government, as the court adjourned the case till February the 10th. There's so much to talk about. I'll take you to River State. From River State, then, perhaps one of the major worry, the headache for the ruling APC is the opposition, African Democratic Congress, the ADC. In the real sense of it, is it enough to pose a pressure or put some clog in the wheel of progress of the APC and his assurance, thinking that it's going to have an easy and a smooth ride in winning to 2027 elections? We're seeing a lot of people going into the ADC as a party now arrive at the stature of becoming a major force ahead of 2027. We'll be analyzing some of these issues for you. But first, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Supreme Court has ordered that the trial of former Jigawa Governor Sule Lamido, his two sons and others over alleged 1.35 billion naira fraud should continue before the Federal High Court in Abuja. A five-member panel of the Apex Court issued a directive in two unanimous judgments and in two appeals filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The Supreme Court upheld the decision of the trial court, which dismissed the no-case submission filed by Lamidos and held that the defendants had a case to answer. In the lead judgments of the Supreme Court, Justice Abubakar Umar set aside the July 25, 2023 judgment of the Court of Appeal and affirmed the earlier decision by Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu of the Federal High Court, Abuja, which overruled the no-case submission by Lamido and others and ordered to enter their defense. In River State, a youth leader in River State, Lebosi Yamagbana, has called on the Chief Judge of River State to uphold his integrity and place the interests of the state above all else amid the ongoing impeachment moves against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu. Yamagbana, who is the spokesperson of the Niger Delta Ethnic Youth Leaders Forum, faulted the grounds on which the River State House of Assembly is basing the impeachment proceedings, describing them as fundamentally flawed. He alleged that the development amounts to an attempt at state capture, claiming that there is a secret agenda to enthrone the Speaker of the Assembly as acting governor of River State, and urged that the Chief Justice must approach the matter with an open mind to avoid plunging the state into an unavoidable crisis. Similarly, a senior lawyer in River State, Mr. Chetam Mwala, has called on the National Assembly to weigh in and possibly take over legislative duties from the State Assembly. Mr. Mwala stated this while addressing journalists in Port Harcourt, the state capital. He described the Assembly's move to remove the governor as selfish and self-serving, as the lawmakers did not consult with their constituents before embarking on such a weighty exercise. Tondo State, where former Deputy Governor of the state, Omolade Oluwateru, formerly defected from the People's Democratic Party (PDP), citing a lack of direction, foresight, and internal cohesion, which said no longer reflect the ideals upon which the party was founded. Oluwateru, who served as Deputy Governor between 2003 and 2007, announced his decision at a gathering in Akure, the state capital. He notes that he resigned his membership from the PDP despite being a founding member of the party because the present situation of the PDP is not impressive. Members of the United Opposition Movement are leading a campaign to vote the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) out of office in 2027. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, the spokesperson of the group, Mr. Shedrack Udubai, picked holes in the 2026 budget. The movement also calls on the opposition parties to draw lessons from the 2023 general election and form a stronger united front to vote the APC out of power in 2027. Lastly, the Rebuild Area Initiative for Development has called on leaders in northern Nigeria to emulate the virtues of moral integrity, accountability, and the fear of God, as exemplified by the life of the late Saudano Sokoto Sir Ahmadu Bello. Addressing a news conference in Abuja to commemorate the Saudano Memorial Day, the publicity secretary of the group, Mr. Bitako Umar, says most of the challenges bedeviled in the north, like insecurity, poverty, and education crisis, are all due to a lack of visionary leadership, as exemplified by the late Saudana.
And there you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Let me take you to Rivers State and recap for you all you need to know as far as the politics of the impeachment proceedings on Governor Fubara and his deputy is concerned. So we've got some update on some of the breaking news that came in earlier. Rivers State High Court sitting in Oyibo, local government area, has stepped into the escalating political crisis in the state, issuing an interim injunction that temporarily halts further action on the impeachment process against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Maodru. In a ruling delivered in Port Harcourt, the court restrained the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amewule, alongside 32 other defendants, including the clerk of the House and the Chief Judge of Rivers State, from taking steps aimed at advancing the impeachment process. Specifically, the court barred the Chief Judge, Justice Simeon Chibuzo Amadi, from receiving, forwarding, considering, or acting on any request, resolution, or impeachment-related document from the Assembly for the purpose of constituting an investigative panel pending the determination of the matter. The injunction is to subsist for 7 days. Well, it was a U-turn, a dramatic one indeed. Former lawmakers and the Rivers State House of Assembly, who recently withdrew from the impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara, have now reversed their decision and declared support for the process. The lawmakers are the minority leader of the House, Silvanus Nwankwo, Peter Abe, representing the Gema constituency, Bali Nwako of Kana Constituency 1, and Emilia Amadi of Obiakpo Constituency 2. The lawmakers made a U-turn earlier today during a live broadcast on the front of the Rivers State House of Assembly complex, days after publicly calling for an amicable resolution of the political crisis rocking the states. Take a listen to them.
Press today as a way of reaching out to our constituents and indeed the good people of Rivers State on the current matter of the impeachment process against the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara GSSRS, and the deputy governor, Professor Ngozi Maodru. Some leaders and well-meaning Nigerians have called on us to once again halt the impeachment process against the governor and the deputy governor. This morning, the 16th day of January 2026, we concluded that there is indeed the need to proceed. This is a decision of all of us, including members who had the opportunity to address the media few days ago and those who had already decided not to proceed but changed their positions. In the face of prevailing situation, our decision to proceed is informed by the following. 1. The governor and the deputy governor do not have any intention to stop disobeying the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as altered. Previous attempts at resolving the quagmire politically failed because the governor does not abide by any agreement and cannot be trusted. It is obvious that the only solution now is to apply the solution prescribed by the 1999 Constitution as altered, which is the impeachment of the incorrigible governor and the deputy governor. We therefore strongly appeal to all leaders at all levels and the good people of Rivers State to carefully consider the problem at hand and understand that the impeachment process is the best way to go at this point. We are using this medium to call on Mr. Speaker to allow the constitutional process to proceed unhindered.
Explanations also on part of some of the other lawmakers. I think we have about 2 of them actually that spoke, or more of them. Well, I think we have one of the other lawmakers for you to hear their reasons for making a U-turn. We'll probably give you the other perspectives on that. But let me tell you what the stance of the Rivers State House of Assembly is on the matter. But they have come forward to say they have transmitted a letter and a notice of impeachment to the Rivers State judge, and they said they've initiated formal constitutional steps to investigate allegations of gross misconduct against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy following a resolution reached at plenary. There's a statement issued earlier today. The Assembly says that lawmakers involved Section 188 of the Constitution mandating the Speaker to write the Chief Judge of Rivers State for the setting up of investigative panels, stressing that all procedures so far comply strictly with constitutional provisions, even as the House appealed for calm and public confidence in the democratic process.
Those in favor that the allegations of gross misconduct against Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Professor Ngozi Umah Odo, DSSRS, be investigated should indicate by raising their hands. The clerk has ensured that the votes are counted. Those in favor that the investigation should proceed are 25 in number. Against, nil. Abstention, nil. Distinguished colleagues, by this voting, the Rivers State House of Assembly has resolved that investigations against allegations of gross misconduct leveled against His Excellency Sir Siminalayi Fubara, Governor of Rivers State, should proceed to the next level, which is investigation, and by virtue of Section 188, subsection 5, I will ensure that the resolution of this House is immediately communicated to the Chief Judge of Rivers State.
That's about it, however, from Rivers State, and all what has panned out. You have a perspective on what has gone on. You are now up to date with that. Let me take you to what should be a headache to the APC, the ruling party. It does look like, yet they are in firm control of several states of the Federation, controlling them politically speaking. The party is also at the top of things at the federal level. But what about the real people of Nigeria? Are they in control? What are the hopes of the APC, with some of the assurances that members and leaders of APC are having that is a coast clear for them in 2027, and it's going to be an easy ride for President Bola Tinubu to get a re-election and the APC to hold firm the political leadership in this country. Well, tonight, the Nigeria political and economic debates take center stage, and our conversation as concerns are now growing over the state of the nation under President Bola Tinubu, rising cost of living, and the government's decision to higher foreign lobbies in the United States. At the same time, shifting alliances and recent defections are reshaping the opposition ahead of the 2027 election. Tonight, I'm being joined by the spokesperson of Nigeria's major opposition now, the African Democratic Congress spokesperson, Mr. Bolaji Abdullah, is live for us in our studio. Thank you so much, Malam Abdullah, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
It's good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. It's good to see you. What a year! What a year it's been, 2025. It saw the alliances and some heavyweights coming together under the umbrella of the ADC, and it's seen someone like you who's been a former minister and who is a former governorship aspirant in your state coming to now speaking for the ruling, for the major opposition party now. I'm saying major opposition party now because suddenly the ADC seems to be a party to look out for. The PDP is falling apart. The Labour Party seems to not to find its feet, but the ADC seems to have had all of the major players from all of the opposition parties come under one umbrella. But in all of this, we've seen Dele Momodu also, interestingly, from Benin City, declared his, and you saw, interestingly, perhaps the first national chairman of the APC, Chief John Odege Yegon, receiving Dele Momodu in the ADC, into the ADC. Interesting times indeed. But how do you summarize the year 2025? I'm looking forward to 2026.
Well, thank you very much. 2025 was a very good year for us. It was a foundational year. As it were. When we started in July last year, in July of 2025, not many people thought we could go far. The ruling party itself dismissed us. They said, oh, these are just aggrieved people, and the coalition will collapse even before it had the chance to take off. And look at all the big men in their ranks. They're going to start fighting over who gets what. But 7 months after, in 2026, here we are, getting stronger than before. Look, I'm very confident that if you gather political scientists to study the trajectory of political party development, they will probably tell you that ADC has been one of the fastest growth in Nigerian political history. And the reason is not far-fetched. You mentioned all those different people joining our party and all. The reason is very clear. It is clear to everyone today there is only one option. The possibility of Nigerians having to continue with what the current APC government is doing under President Bola Tinubu is too scary to contemplate. In terms of what has happened to the lives and livelihood of Nigerians, in terms of what has happened to the image and reputation of this country, in terms of what has happened to the status of Nigeria as a leader of the black race the world over. Every Nigerian today who knows what Nigeria should be, what Nigeria used to represent in the past, and where we are today, will not want what is going on to continue. So all these people you see joining our parties, these big wigs and political heavyweights, are also telling themselves that what is at stake is bigger than my individual ambition.
And this is not all about grabbing power.
No.
Because there are those who think that this intent is solely to get Tinubu out of power. That is the agenda and not about the interest of Nigeria.
No, of course we want to get Tinubu out of power. That's the only way we can get to do. No, not desperately. Because it's only by getting him out of power that can take our country back. There's no scenario where he remains in power and we're able to save this country.
Is the country stolen?
It's more or less it has been hijacked. You see some of the behavior of the people in government, and when people say you can smash it and grab it and run with it, that is the language of banditry. A government that can forge a duly passed law, what do you call that? You see, some things have happened in recent times that is unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. This is the first time we hear that the National Assembly will pass a law, then some people in government will sit and forge it and actually try to pass it off as the duly approved law. This is the first time that we're hearing that a government of Nigeria will pay $9 million.
Is it 6 million or 9 million now?
It's 9 million. It was, I read the agreement, I saw the document. If you go to the FARA website, you see it there. $9 million. $9 million for lobbyists to make them look good before Donald Trump.
Is it a bad thing to lobby?
It's not a bad thing to lobby. But what they are doing, number one, I don't even want to go to the issue of all the processes. How did they award this contract? How was the money paid? Who paid this money? What budget line is it? How was the money transferred out of Nigeria? We are not even going into that. But when you are paying $9 million, if you invest $9 million on your internal security matters, you will see results. And you don't have to convince the president of another country that your country is safe. You are paying $9 million to a public relations group in the US, company in the US, to make you look good, to tell Americans and the American president that, as a matter of fact, what you think about us is not who we are. So, and that is all they care about. They don't care about whether Nigerians are still dying. They don't care about why people are still being killed. They just want to look good before Americans. Okay, I woke up this morning. What did I see? Around 19th December, this government signed an MOU, a medical MOU, with the United States, this same United States. When I read the details, it is shocking to say the least. You go and look at it. That even though Nigeria is paying more, the Americans dictated the term. They decided, in fact, they decided how the money will be spent and what section of the country they want the money to be spent on in our country, even though we are paying more. No Nigerians have seen the details of this MOU. Now, that aside, I'm sure you, wherever you went on holiday, I'm sure you knew when President Trump went to grab the Venezuelan president. Nigeria, historically, were a non-aligned nation. That's what we call ourselves. But Nigeria, up to now, has said nothing. How did we get here? What did our president do that he no longer has a voice?
Is it not politically dangerous for Nigeria to have come out in that scenario?
What is the danger?
When Nigeria is being compared, Nigeria faced some kind of a threatening narrative from the Trump government, and those who are already comparing the Maduro government to the present government in terms of the treatment that the Trump could melt out because he has sent out different kind of threats.
So is that
I'm saying, is it diplomatically or politically?
I don't know. But what I'm asking is that, maybe it's not political, but is that the kind of president we want? A president that will not be able to speak for us, be able to chest out for Nigeria, a country of 250 million people.
A President Trump that can come and pick any president in the middle of the night and take them to jail in America.
So what we're saying, but Ghana spoke out. Ghana issued a statement to say, no, you can't do this. It's against international law. Other smaller countries, with due respect to Ghana, spoke out, took a position. How did we get to the point that Nigeria can no longer take a position? And I'll give you one instance. Historically, this is a leading country in the world. In 1962, when Nelson Mandela was arrested by the apartheid government in South Africa, they were going to execute him. The first judgment was death sentence. Nigeria, led by Jaja Wachuku, the foreign affairs minister, intervened and they converted it to life imprisonment. How many other instances can we point out where Nigeria has directed the boycott of the Commonwealth Games? I can't remember when, I think it was Glasgow. So, how many times have Nigeria set agenda for the rest of the world? And we have people. So, how did we get here? That Nigerian president can no longer take a position because our president is afraid.
The government seems to say Nigeria forced the agenda. That's what this government seems to have established in its diplomatic and its
Nigeria first agenda.
Foreign relations.
No. Shall not be deceived. This is not Nigeria first agenda. What we are seeing, okay, I'll give you another example. You say Nigeria first agenda. Can you think of any instance in history where a president would declare a state of security emergency which, by the way, is still subsisting, then jets off on holiday in another country? No, explain that. If it's Nigeria first. So, you see, we are going through a very terrible period that we have never... Nigeria is sinking.
Are you saying, or what are you inferring, really, that President Bola Tinubu's absence from the country, and he did explain the reasons why he's going to be out of the country, are you saying it is wrong of him to have traveled out of the country?
It's about priorities.
But he stayed
Don't
back.
forget, no, don't
he
forget.
cancelled about 2 or 3 appointments abroad because of security situation.
Sometimes ago they say he cancelled. No, you see, when they announced that the president was traveling, what did they tell? They say he was going on holiday in Europe, and that was suspicious. Going on holiday in Europe, which country is called Europe? Then a few days later, they posted this photo showing like he's having breakfast with Paul Kagame in France. That itself generated its own controversy that the photograph was forged and all that. You know, that it was AI generated. Then we saw our president in Abu Dhabi attending the climate change thing. This is a country where you have declared a state of security emergency, that your citizens are still being killed, that you expect the president to do nothing 24 hours by dealing with this insecurity. No, you don't see that.
So you think that
President
Tinubu should sit put in Nigeria?
Absolutely, and I'm sure he will agree. Were he not the president today, I'm sure President Tinubu will agree with me. Because that's what I'm saying now is what he will have said.
If it's an ADC president, it should have been a president that will sit without traveling?
Absolutely, because this is where the...
What about the trade relationship and the deals that have been signed, some of the achievements that have been made in trade and investment, the direct, foreign direct investment that have been...
Which foreign direct investment have we... Okay, so let's leave that. So where are your ministers? What's the job of your ministers?
Could those deals
I saw my president received by a minister of state in Abu Dhabi. Nigerian president received by a minister of state. Come on, Shehu, don't you feel insulted? Don't you feel insulted? Our president should be here. Ministers should be doing those kind of jobs. 3 years after, we don't even have ambassador. They said they submitted some names sometimes ago, last year, that the National Assembly has cleared. Up to now, they have not posted a single one of them. And let me tell you, if they post them today, before they get their letter of credence, maybe end of 2026, before they resume formally and are able to function as ambassador, especially in first-class missions in the world, because the receiving countries will still have to vet them and agree that they are receiving them. Then before they issue them agreement and before they begin to function. All that has not happened. And this is why our president have to outsource diplomatic function and pay $9 million to a lobbyist, a lobbying firm, to do public relations for us. When Nigerians should be in the room talking for Nigeria, you have to hire people to do
How do you encapsulate or summarize your own assessment of the Tinubu-led government over the last 2 years or more?
There's too much incompetence in the government. I don't know why.
In the government or
yes,
in the presidency?
In the government. No. I mean, the president is competent. I'm not saying he's not competent. Individually, if you see him, you know he knows what. So, but there's too much incompetence.
How can a competent leader lead an incompetent government? Is that not contradictory?
No. You have the impression that he's overwhelmed.
Really?
You have the impression that...
But this is a man who says, I asked for it. I fought for it.
Yeah.
I got it. Blame me for whatever has happened. Okay. The president says he's up to the task.
We are blaming him.
But how can the president be overwhelmed when he says, this is the job that I asked for and I'm the one, the buck stopped on my table, on my desk. That's what the president has said over and over again. How can he be overwhelmed?
This president is very competent in one thing. He's a very competent politician. And everything you see him say reflects that. He's a very competent politician, no doubt about that.
What about being a competent leader?
I'm not sure of, because we can only judge by the evidence. A leader is primarily an empathetic person. It's someone that wakes up in the morning and think about the people. How are they feeling? When you think that there are policies you need to pursue, you ask yourself, these policies that I'm pursuing, how is it going to affect the life of an ordinary citizen under me? When someone dies in your country, you feel personally responsible that you have failed that individual because your primary job is to protect that person. But we don't see that.
But how do you describe
We don't see that.
Is our cup half full or half empty?
I'm not even sure we have a cup. That's the point I'm making.
The government says, look, that we have had a disastrous run. And
they've agreed that they've had a disaster.
They don't know in the past. Yeah. And they are coming on board to fix things, albeit a very difficult task of the revolutionary and reformist policy tendencies that they brought on board. And this is going to cause some immediate pains, which is going to be relieved after a time when these policies get into place. And you can see some very fantastic human beings like Wale Edun, the Minister of the Economy, you see, very erudite members of the cabinet that have a very strong profile, not only locally, but internationally, who are at the helm of affairs, people with integrity. But in all of this, the preaching that we've gotten from this government is that things might be tough, but it will get better. Are we being impatient with this government?
They have 4 years. They have 4 years. The Constitution of Nigeria provides for a 4-year tenure. There's nothing that guarantees that you will get another 4 years. What the Constitution provides for is a 4-year tenure. So whatever you are not able to do in 4 years, then you have not done. And that is why we have institutions to carry on whenever you stop. But what we are saying is that in 3 years out of 4, we have not seen anything that this administration has done that will give us confidence that the country is moving in the right direction.
I asked you that question, very much with a lot. With a lot of reasons why I asked the question, whether or not our cup is half empty or half full. And I'm very certain that you have embarked on house building projects. Yeah. And you know the pains, and those who understand these know that when you are building the foundation, it takes a long. In fact, if you're spending and giving the builder money to construct the foundation, you'll be worried whether they're stealing your money, because it does look like nothing is showing up. But when you start building the blocks, it goes up on you get to the lintel. And when you get to the lintel, the work slows down again because you start building the concrete. And now, the question I'm asking is that, is it a facade that we're seeing, or the real foundation that this government said he wants to build? Because over the years, things have been messed up, and things are, without wanting to use a dirty language, that we're in a mess.
Sure. Maybe some of that $9 million should be paid to you, because you seem to be doing a good job.
No, because I speak to both parties. I speak to opposition and I speak to ruling party. Because we, as Nigerians, we need to, where things are good, we need to say where they are bad.
But you tell me one thing that they have done that is good. If President Bola Tinubu will be campaigning to Nigerians today, tell me one thing that they will say, oh, Nigerians, I have done this. This is a president that said, if after 2 years I don't give you electricity, don't vote for me.
So you think that this government is an absolute failure?
He said it. The president said it.
I'm saying that generally speaking, you think that the Tinubu government has been an absolute failure?
Nigerians have agreed that this government has failed. It is a consensus. And we in the opposition know that the responsibility that we have is to convince Nigerians that we can do better, that we have alternative ideas.
All right.
But the question of whether this administration has failed, that's a foregone conclusion.
That this government has failed?
Oh, it's a foregone conclusion.
Now, let's, because I'm wondering when you said this government has failed, and yet they now, you have more governors in their ranks, and they are controlling the majority of the state. And they're convincing people that this is the right party to be.
It's a gang up against the Nigerian people. You see, look, I keep saying this. The governors, by the president's own declaration, he has given more money to the governors than maybe any president has ever given to governors in our history. And how has that reflected in the improved livelihood of the people in the states? Because, I mean, in fairness to the president, we can't continue to say president, president, president. There are 36 individuals who lead the states as governors, as chief executive of the states. And I'm not saying all of them are bad. But what I'm saying is that they have received more money than they have received, more than any other generation of governors have received in the history of this country. You can say devaluation, you can say, but they say the money they saved from subsidy. The reason that we have more money going to the states is because they removed subsidy and that money is now going to the states. In what way has that reflected in better life for the people in the states? So these governors know what they are doing. Most of them joining the ruling party are joining because of their vulnerability. Because they know that that's the only way they can be saved. Because in this party, APC said, no matter what you do, no matter what your crimes or sins are, join our party and your sins will be forgiven.
Let's take a break. Malam Abdullahi, you said that ADC has options and alternatives. We look at those options, whether Nigerians agree that these are real options or maybe they don't really have any options. We take a break, everyone. Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, the spokesperson of the ADC, is still with me, and there's so much more to talk about. The 2027 politics and what has become a growing pressure coming from the opposition party. Is the opposition pressure mounting on the ruling APC? And what are the options for Nigerians? Bolaji Abdullahi is still with me in the studio. We'll be right back after this break. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Malam Bolaji Abdullahi is the spokesperson of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
You talk about the state of the nation and governance in this country. I like to say what is government because you've got to give them a benefit of the doubt. If you vote a government into power, you've got to allow them to do what they say they promise to do. The government says current economic pain is temporary and reform-driven. What do you say to Nigerians who feel the hardship is deepening with no clear relief in sight? And I asked that question earlier. Is it a sense of impatience, or people just feel that there are angels somewhere or saints that could, by a swing of a wand, and magically all of our problems and pains will disappear? Governance doesn't happen that way, does it? You've been in government before.
That's why I was looking at you, because what are they saying? What are they saying?
When you hear the government
it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. They asked for this job. What do I tell you?
No, there's some of us who believe that governance is actually it's more than rocket science.
You see, it is not. I'm glad you said some of us have been in government before, and I have run some of the most complicated sectors in this country: education, sports. Those are some of the most mind-bending sectors you can operate in, and all that. So, but what I'm saying is that when this president campaigned in 2023, he never said to Nigerians, "I will remove fuel subsidy." Correct me if I'm wrong. Then he came on board. At the swearing-in venue, he said subsidy is gone. The first question you ask yourself, how much of preparation, how much of assessment, how much of information did the president have access to before he could say he could make that kind of declaration? Look, I'm a public policy manager, and I know that any policy that you have no alternative to, or any advisor that is telling you there is no alternative to a particular policy action, then you should fire him or her. So if somebody told this president, the only way to go is remove this subsidy at this time, the question I will be asking as president, okay, who does it affect? How do we mitigate the impact of that? Do we have sufficient time to do that? How long will it take before they begin to see the impact of the safety net that we are going to give? You see, these are the questions. But the president wanted to appear like, I have to, some people have probably advised him, you have to hit the ground running and you have to take advantage of the honeymoon. Now, this is leading to a terrible marriage.
Some people
whatever
have
they call
described
the
this as
honeymoon.
audacity, and that
It's
goes
not
to say
audacity. Sometimes there is no recklessness. There is no difference
just
between.
A moment.
Yeah.
You have worked in government that have politically mouthed removal of subsidy.
Yes.
Your very good political ally and good friend Bukola Saraki was the one who raised this matter and the controversy on the floor of the Senate, and we saw the devil in the details of fuel subsidy in this country, and almost
too much money on subsidy. And why are we spending too much money? We have fiscal crisis, and we can bring some money from money we are paying on subsidy and cushion that to give ourselves some fiscal headroom. Then we can divert this money to other sectors of critical importance. Now, that's one argument for the removal of subsidy. The second one is that there's too much corruption around it, and if we remove subsidy, we'll be able to kill that corruption. Now, which of the two have we solved? If the removal of subsidy that was supposed to give us the fiscal headroom that we need and give us more money to be able to direct it to other critical sectors had been done from day one, now where is the result? I was reading today that most Nigerians are dying today because they don't have access to diabetes drug. It has been priced out of the hands of the ordinary person. Amlodipine, the common drug used for blood pressure, most people cannot even afford it. I would want a situation where this president will be telling us that we have removed subsidy and the money and the reason you are buying this drug at a cheaper rate, or the reason remove that subsidy from petrol or whatever and put it in subsidizing drugs, and use it in subsidizing food, and use it in subsidizing education. Then when you do that, then we can say, okay, maybe this is worth it. There are Nigerians who
what would ADC would have done differently if all others have mounted the same policy direction as this president?
No. You see, and I can tell you, I can invite you to one of our sessions. We are working on these programs now. And one thing I can tell you is that ADC is focused on one thing. How do we ease the burden on the people? So the
ADC is tilting to be a party left of the center in terms of ideology, or what exactly does your ideology is going? Have you shaped what the ideology?
I don't like labeling. I don't like labeling because labeling doesn't always capture everything.
But that's what political parties.
But what we are saying is that our party, you don't have to give it a name. It's what you do. Okay,
you've got to belong in an ideology bowl.
Hang on a second. I'll give you an example. All Progressive Congress, APC, will tell you that they are a progressive party.
They said they were left of the center.
But have you seen?
PDP said they were right of the center.
Hang on about the. Well, they never about what
that wanted is out of.
Doesn't exist.
So ADC wants to be that party.
For us, I think you are trying to pigeonhole me into an ideological box.
Because you and I know you. I've known you for years. Yeah. Interestingly, we are from the same state. And knowing you means that I know how policy-wise, how strong you are. Yeah. And when I'm having a political science conversation with you, I know you understand what I mean. That you can't stand out as an organization that is politically oriented and not have an ideological box in a bowl. You've got to be able to identify. You cannot be everything as a political organization.
No, you cannot be everything.
And you cannot come out as a government to say,
the point
we're going to be conservative and at the same time be welfare.
Exactly the point. And that's the point I'm making. That this labeling don't always work. They just put the label for marketing purpose. APC will tell you they are welfareists, they are left of the center, they are progressive, they have been the most progressive government in Nigerian history. There is no government in Nigerian history that has burdened the people more than they have done. Even Margaret Thatcher, go and read Margaret Thatcher's policies. She did not do as much as the APC government is doing. So what I'm saying is that African Democratic Congress is saying our priority, how do we ease the burden on the people? The suffering is too much. Any economic policy that is likely to compound the suffering of the people, ADC will not pursue it.
Let me ask you, Malam Abdullah, joining the people who are moving into the ADC, is it an ideological issue for them, just looking for alternative platforms other than the ruling party? Because some people don't agree with some of the folks in the APC.
No, you see,
because it doesn't look like your party has an ideology.
You see, and that's why I say I think
if anybody is going there, because the only reason why political party members come together is because of the ideology, because they believe in one thing.
I think you are overrating these ideological labels.
Because it's important. Unfortunately, we've not gotten solid and we've failed in building political structures because there are no ideology. And that's why such a platform as this, we've got to ask our politicians, where are your ideologies? Because they get into office and they are lost because they never had any ideology in the first place.
What you call ideology is framing. There's nothing in my education or in my experience that tells me that we have to attach this label to this political party before they can stand for something. I'm ready to debate that. What I'm saying is that by what we promise to do, by what we actually do, you can define us. You can say, okay, this is what this party stands for.
But the Second Republic politicians and political parties,
okay,
in the Second Republic and the First Republic, you could know what the Sadanas of this world, the Awolowas of this world, what they stood for.
But what did you?
They had priorities.
Now, did you call them? Did you call them left of the center, conservative, ultra right?
Everybody knew. Everybody knew.
That's
what an Awolowo was a premier
we are saying,
and you could define it.
We are saying the same thing. You could define it. That's what I'm saying. That when we come out with our policies, we will tell you, I've just told you, that the people will be at the center of governance for ADC.
And you don't have a name for it. You don't have an ideological tag for it.
You can take that. You can say you are social welfareist, left of the center, you know, whatever. You see, I've looked through Europe. I've seen different parties, right of the center, left of the center, middle of the center, whatever. And you could see that there are circumstances where you see a Democratic Party in the US doing something that is very, very conservative. You see a Republican Party, okay, you see now the Republican Party under President Donald Trump with his evangelical community. I mean, and you see some things they do, and you say, oh, hang on, this looks like a social democratic thing. That's why I said, for us, it is not about the label. It is about what we promise to do and what we are going to do and how we are going to do.
Because Nigerians, a lot of people now.
This labeling doesn't mean anything.
It is a gang of those who just wanted to grab power again.
Unfortunately,
without a unified concept of how they want to govern.
I've just told you that, and I've said it somewhere today. In the next couple of days, you'll see it. We are the first party. Now we have what we call the Orange Book that we're going to present. I'm saying it now. Right, the ethical and governance principles of the African Democratic Congress. It's the fourth time a political party is having something like that. Right? You see, a lot of work is going on because we are clear that we have to be able to present a clear alternative and option.
Give me a moment, please. We need to go on another break. But when we come back, what are the options? If Bola Tinubu stands on the ballot in the APC, who will fly the flag of the ADC? What are the options that Nigerians should look forward to in the ADC? We'll be right back after this break, everyone. With Bolaji Abdullahi. Our closing moment with Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, the spokesperson of the ADC. When you say that ADC has options for Nigerians, that those who will say, are there better people that can, in terms of the ability to govern this country, better than Bola Tinubu? Who are these people that they are your first 11 that Nigerians who say can contend with the Bola Tinubu at the polls?
Well, we've seen President Bola Tinubu, so there's no debate. The jury has closed on that, right?
And what did they close on?
That this administration has failed. And what we are saying is that I see all kind of adverts that they are putting out saying they have done this, they're counting numbers. But what is clear is that they don't get to mark their own report, their own result sheets. Nigerians will mark it, and Nigerians have marked their script, and Nigerians have concluded that they have failed. Now, the question of alternatives. You see, the mistake we keep making, and I'm glad you referred earlier to the Second Republic parties. The mistake we keep looking for one person that we believe will solve this problem.
That's the concept of leadership. There's
concept of leadership.
Private sector, public sector.
Look, you see,
that's I don't want to. You've got to have someone one person who will lead the pack, that will have the vision, carry the vision, and be able to lead the pack.
I don't want to go into this philosophical debate because we don't have the time. We can talk about agency and agents and all that. But what I'm saying is that Fundamentally, there were times in this country when a political party, like you said, stood for something.
Yeah.
And whoever contests election on the platform of those political parties know that they have to implement the program of the party. Like you said, you referred to the UPN in the Second Republic. You know that if you are voting for the UPN, you know what you are voting for. And that is why it's the name of the political parties that is on the ballot. It is when we begin to discount the role of political parties in governance and begin to focus on the individual that will begin to get it wrong.
But we don't have the time. We just have 20 seconds today. Can you tell Nigerians the truth? And those who think that your party is just floating a lie to the Nigerian public that this is not an article machinery.
No, it's absolutely not. Every APC, every ADC member today knows that. It's only people looking from the outside that say this, right? Every ADC member knows today that our party does not belong to anybody. And that's why Peter Obi will come in. And that's why Rotimi Amechi is there.
No, those who say
that's why other people...
The ticket is for Atiku.
No.
It's already
it is the ruling party spreading. You see, they're trying to second-guess us, trying to gaslight us, and I tell them to mind their business. In social, that's what it's called voyeurism.
And
voyeurism, peeping into the neighbor's bedroom. What is
that? Who need that justify that?
You see, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why I call it second-guessing. If Atiku gets the ticket, he gets the ticket. It doesn't mean that, oh, they were right all along. If Atiku gets the ticket, he gets the ticket. If somebody else gets the ticket, he gets it. But what I'm saying is that where we stand today, this ADC does not belong to anybody.
We are not done yet, Malam Abdullah, but we are totally out of time. I wish you come back so that we can have other part of the conversation. But thank you so much indeed, Malam Balaji Abdullah, who is the spokesperson of the African Democratic Congress. Well, that's our show for tonight. But the Sunday show looks to be a bumper one. We've got some interesting package for you. We'll see you on Sunday at 8 p.m. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Okimale. God bless Nigeria.